Well, here we are. It's over, guys. The Game of the Year awards came and went, and while you know what, it wasn't necessarily the worst Game Award show, probably the one I've enjoyed the most in the last few years or so. It was interesting, right? Because all this time I was trying to decide which game was going to win Game of the Year, because I've been on a hot streak. Not necessarily like on my channel, but whenever I talk about the Game of the Year awards with my friends and stuff, and they can testify, I'm usually correct. As a matter of fact, I have been right about which game will win Game of the Year since 2017. And that's because, well, it's kind of obvious usually every single year. And also because I've noticed that the Game of the Year is usually follows a pretty set standard pattern. But this year, I had a tough time guessing, and I will admit I was wrong. In my heart, I thought it was going to be Astrobot, but logically, I ended up guessing that they would pick Metaphor, and my friends will even testify, because we were on Snapchat talking about it, and I said, Metaphor is going to win, but it could also be Astrobot, and that's kind of the two I was always teetering between. And I'm happy to say, though, that Astrobot is, in fact, the winner. Congratulations to Astrobot. It was both expected and not expected, and I will explain why right now. Before you see, like I said, I've been able to safely predict basically the Game of the Year every year on point, and there's a few reasons for that. And I think the main reason is because, you know, it's a panel of critics and journalists and whomever it is, and they have a set pattern for what wins Game of the Year. Typically speaking, it has to be a game that's very popular, it helps push its genre forward, and usually it has a very narrative-heavy focus. I mean, you don't have to believe me, it's just the facts. 2017 was Breath of the Wild, and that had a subtle narrative, but it was still a heavy narrative-driven game. 2018, and I did predict this on my YouTube channel, but I said it was going to be God of War. And sure enough, again, it won. 2019 was Sekiro. It helped improve the Souls formula, and for all those lore-heavy fans, I mean, Sekiro, once again, has that single-player story. 2020 was The Last of Us Part 2. 2021 was It Takes Two. Again, another one that's about heartbreak, healing, divorce, all of that stuff. And you can just look at the patterns. I mean, 2022 Elden Ring fits that, you know, that checkbox, and so does 2023's Baldur's Gate. So when you look at all of these things, the logical one next up for it to win Game of the Year would have been Metaphor. Because Metaphor is, in fact, one of those types of games. It's like the God of War and the Elden Ring and the Zelda Breath of the Wild. It is a narrative-focused game, and the big overarching narrative for, you know, Metaphor is racism is bad, and if that doesn't scream a Game of the Year winner, then I don't know what to tell you. Usually that type of message would win Game of the Year, but it is doing other things too, right? It's helping push that dungeon crawler mechanic, the stuff that you see from Persona, for example. It's put its own new twist on it and shown ways that the Persona series, even going forward, can improve. Not that Metaphor is a Persona game, but it definitely has elements of, you know, Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, which it should because it's from Atlas. So when I was looking at this and I was thinking about it, in my heart, I felt like they would choose Astrobot, but I also felt like just based on the current pattern and trends for a Game of the Year, that Metaphor would have won it. So I guessed Metaphor, but I did also think Astrobot could win, and that's where it surprises me, because Astrobot is not what you would expect as a Game of the Year winner. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying this is a really good thing, actually. It means that the Game of the Year is going to be a little bit less predictable now going forward, and that's great. And it's awesome, because a game like Astrobot is such a phenomenal game. It is so fun. It is a 3D platformer that is just a true joy to play, man. I love Astrobot. So don't get it twisted here. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it. In my opinion, Astrobot 100% deserves it. It just didn't do some of the things that the typical Game of the Year winner from the last 8 or so times would do. Like, for example, it doesn't have a very strong narrative or story. And that's not necessarily the point in video games. Not all video games have to have that. But if you're going to win the Game of the Year award, typically you did need to have something like that. Which is why it's so crazy to me at the same time to see Astrobot win, because what Astrobot lacks in narrative, it makes up for in so many other things, like its mechanics, its graphics, its music, its charm, the replay value. Even though it's a single player game and you can 100% complete this in about 10 or 15 hours, it's still fun to just go back in and screw around this world and replay the game. And it's solid, man, from head to toe. It's just a delight to play. And the most important thing I think that Astrobot did that all the other games didn't do, except for Balatro is just amazing as well, is it made gaming fun. And that's the thing I feel like that's been missing for so long in video games, is people forget, I think, these days to remember that video games, first and foremost, are played and meant to be fun at its core. And Astrobot, it has fun coming out from every crevice of this game. So once again, congratulations Astrobot, and now it's going to change the way I look at the Game of the Year winner now. Now it's going to make me think, what deserves to be the Game of the Year? Is it the game that's the most fun? Is it the game that has the most replay value? Is it the game that truly tells you a wonderful story? I mean, it's great that Astrobot won because it doesn't tell you that great of a story, and it doesn't need to. It's just good, wholesome fun at its finest, and I think that's a wonderful reason in and of itself to be a Game of the Year winner. But let me know what you guys think about Astrobot winning Game of the Year. Are you happy? Are you disappointed? Maybe you wanted something else. You're always welcome to let me know in the comments down below and have that discussion. But as always, I am Bradley Overrated, out like a trout. Congratulations, Astrobot. It's great to see you getting the love you deserve. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.